Hello, everyone. We're very lucky to have Daniele Chiantese. Did I say it right?
Yes, you said right.
Very lucky to have you. You played yesterday.
Yes.
How did it go?
It was fine. The staff was great, and also the audience very warm. They also did many questions. That was nice. So I could speak about many things about the gear I was playing, and also some little advices. On, uh, referred to my experience, my own experience.
Was there any question that surprised you?
No, not really. Not really. All the questions were very good. Also, the questions about the gear were strictly connected then with the musical meaning of why I use that rather than another kind of stuff.
Yeah, why do you use that fat snare drum?
I'm not the first one to do it.
No.
I also said it yesterday. Of course, I was influenced on doing this by, firstly, one of my favorite drummers, who is Robert Spoot. Is he right? Oh, of course. We all know him. He's an idol. We know him, his work with Snarky Puppy, and actually with Toto also. So he's a huge inspiration for me, I think, for all the drummers community. Him or Anika also. Anika and I also use the same kind of setting on the right side, or also Lerner Lewis or other drummers. I've seen also Eric Carland doing this different times. So I was inspired by these guys who work in the middle between jazz and other kinds of music. In the crossover to jazz, from jazz to funk, modern fusion, Afrobeat, and global music. I would prefer to talk about global music. So it's a very interesting sound to mix with the old drum set sounds. It's a secondary snare drum positioned in the where usually you have the first floor tone, so you can use it like a floor tone with and without the snares. So snares on, snare off. But the purpose sometimes is the purpose of a floor, and sometimes the purpose of a snare. And it is interesting, just if you use a certain sticking and you just have a different sound there, it just sounds different. That's why also I have this secondary. I have second floor tone, the 14 inch. I have on my left side. And also the purpose, like I said yesterday, is having the idea of two different setups in the meanwhile in the same setup. So I also used yesterday this drummer timbale by Meinl Percussion, which is timbalito with snares. I love that sound because it's very near to. It reminds me to Latin music, Brazilian music, and so. But also, it's very similar to some snare sound you find also in contemporary trap and electronic music. So it's so inspiring. So my idea is to, being having on the left side one kit, on the right one, and mix one to the other. And it's fun, and sometimes it's also very helpful to have new ideas, always fresh ideas. I used to work with the setup to be inspired on new kind of ideas, and I also always thought symmetrical on drums. Very very young, I decided to be ambidexter. So to be able to play the same pattern both ends, not necessarily to to switch and play open, but having the freedom to move around the kit with not particular limits, or at least I wish to be able.
It's not an easy thing for sure. How often do you change the setup?
It happens very often. I have different setups, and for different kinds of of musical settings. So I would not say I change often. I have these different options that I use on the basis of what's happening, what I have to do. For instance, next week I'm going to record an album in Naples, and I would prefer, in that case, to use a more simple kit, for maximum 5 pieces kit, and with more conventional kind of heads and tuning, because it works great in that kind of music that is more acoustic. I will be playing with a quartet and with a great violinist we have in Italy, and so it helps me, to get into the music the way. Sometimes I use 18-inch bass drum, also to play funk if I want to have a more acoustic and also traditional sound. Sometimes I use to 24 if I have to play pop music or, more groove-oriented stuff, pop and also rock music. So different options. Hopefully, likely I have the support of many great companies that are very helpful and very supportive with me. So I'm very grateful for their help.
Obviously. Do you consider yourself a collector?
I was one, not straightly a collector of drums, because collector, sometimes are people very, very expert of particular things. I love drums themselves, and I love the drum set itself. Not only playing, but also the look of drums. Since I was a kid, I was always fascinated by the geometries of the drums and cymbals together. I was designing, and dreaming my, of course, my dream kits, and today also I used to do it. Before planning to build up a new kit, I design it and I discuss it very often with Yamaha or with Meinl cymbals or the other company I work with, getting their suggestions or how I can do better certain things, But being a collector, I would not say collector. I have many drum sets. That's right. I have many drums.
What is the most? So, say your studio is on fire.
My studio.
Yeah. What are you saving? If you can only save one thing, what are you saving?
In my studio.
Yeah.
Talking about the kits, drum kits.
Anything.
But you say the recording studio, my recording studio. What I would save? I don't know. There are many things I worked very hard to build up my own studio. I would save everything, because every little piece I worked on it.
Yeah.
There's so much history in my that one that started like my little place where I I grew up studying and practicing, and then little by little, I tried to make it a more professional place, also to invite other musicians to work with me and make it the best way possible. I also studied as a sound engineer. Of course, I also have another sound engineer who's working with me. But I'm also able to do many things by myself. I think it's very helpful the time you understand what happens with microphone, with preamps. Your way of playing changes. Mm-hmm. You start playing with a different consciousness, and this is very helpful. The time I studied as a sound engineer. I changed also as a drummer. I say you an example. Tuning the snare drum.
Right.
Okay. When you tune the snare drum, of course, you stay like this, and you have the snare drum in this position. So you have a certain distance, from the snare head and the rim and all the shell and so. So what you think is sounding correctly by ear at this distance should not be the same in the position where the capsule of the microphone is.
Yeah,
that is more close. And I would not say you should do the sound check in this position, otherwise you will lose your,
Yeah.
But you should care. I think a drummer should care about dynamics and what changed with the changing of dynamics too. So sometimes also I see drummers muffling a lot the drums, which helps and also is cool very, very often. But sometimes you also don't need it to do certain other things. It's just the way you touch the drums. And so back to your question, I don't know what I would save. I would save my history in that place. I would save for sure, because I did a lot of experience, and I make wrong. One day I make wrong. Day after I made worst, and then it started working. And then little by little, I built up my professionalism.
Right, learning from mistakes, that's a big thing. But I'm gonna ask you again, if you can only say one thing, but it has to be a physical thing. You've already taken what you've learned, and you can put it
thing
somewhere else, but
an object in my studio. It's quite hard, man. Because maybe give me 3 objects or 4.
Okay, I'll give you 3.
3 objects. I will say one of my favorite symbols. Symbols.
Oh, symbol. Yeah.
Is of course, it's a Meinl symbol. Meinl extra dry, 15-inch.
Nice.
Medium thin. Man, I did many works with this symbol, and it could be crunchy for the funk. It could be light and smooth when playing jazz, but with a good chick. It can be very defined when you need to play more straight kind of stuff with less amount of notes, so you need very refined and straight sound to the mic. And then I would say also my 13-inch snare drum from Yamaha, by Yamaha. It's a Yamaha recording custom one, 13-inch by 6.5. I love this kind of size, and it's a perfect combination with me. For me, the diameter with the depth, and with this snare, I can emulate many different sounds. Many. I can have a punchy sound, almost the tuning, totally the snare.
Is it wood or metal?
It's metal. It's a brass. Sorry.
Brass.
Yes, it's a brass.
Okay.
It's a brass. And if I tune it very high, pushing its limit, it's great. It's fantastic, and it's always very controlled, very precise, and then I will man, difficult decision.
I know.
Let's say these two elements for now, because otherwise I'm opening a gap, and my bass drum, I love this 22 by 16 recording custom bass drum, and my Foundry Reserve 22-inch light ride.
That's a great
I
symbol.
can play everything with this ride. I
That's a
can
great
play.
symbol.
I can go wherever I want. But just to name you a few of my gear, it's very hard. It's very hard.
How do you choose? Talking more about the studio, because you do a lot of studio stuff, from what I gather and what I read. How do you decide how to choose your gear and how to choose your sound? And I want to talk about how do you choose your part as well.
So starting from the sound, there are two things that must be considered. You have to understand, firstly, who are you working with? Because sometimes drummers, recent trend is to mic with many microphones. So 3 microphones on the bass drum, 2, 3 on the snare, happens, and overheads, room, ride, many things. And it works great, of course, because you have total control of what's happening on the drums. But sometimes when you work also with online recording, it's too much. Because the guy you're going to send these tracks, it's not with you the time you're recording. So this guy has not the complete picture of everything. On certain cases, he should like it, but in other cases, you need to be very quick, and you need to be very able to do a very detailed miking and functional to make the work the easiest for the people you're working with. So this is the first thing. You have to understand what the people is asking to you. Okay? Sometimes you don't need to do too much, and you have much concentrate in very simple things and make it work. Other times, people want this because they like the room. So both situations work very well, but you have to understand. And everything starts from here. Then the style, the sound of the music. It happens very often. People sending to you some pre-production, and you know that in pre-production you have sometimes some parts and sounds that are very close to what's going to happen in the final product, but sometimes are just MIDI sounds.
Yeah,
you should figure it out how then will be recorded by musicians. But as drummers, we are, in most of cases, we are the first to record the definitive part. So sometimes you have to get oriented and understand what's going on in terms of sound. And then also the style. If you're playing some more traditional pop stuff, or you are doing some hip hop, or doing some reggae, you need some musical culture and many references in your ears. And from this point, I decide the kit and the setting. When I do some more artistical projects where people call me to do my own thing, and they probably want me because they listened a recording or watched me in a certain video, and they want that thing. It's quite easy, because you do your own thing. I have my setup. That's how I have my setup, the creative one, with a certain kind of ads. I use, for instance, Evans hybrid on the snare, black chromes, and EMAD for very particular kind of sounds, and cymbals too. The set has some stacks, many stacks, and particular things.
The funk it.
Yeah, absolutely, and also very trendy sounds, and in front of this one, I have a second option with another kind of miking and interface and preamps that is more neutral, okay, more standard, and I can give it different directions. Sometimes I use coated heads, very classical single ply coated heads. Sometimes I use the clear if I know that they need more harmonics to work on. Bass drum in most of cases is 22. At least I don't have to play some jazz stuff where I bring my 18, and also the tuning changes on the basis of the needs. I have a standard tuning, for very quick works with clear heads and single ply heads. I'm using currently this G12 by Evans on toms, all toms, and sometimes also on the snare. So clear head also on the snare, and with the medium tuning, low hand, but also some good balance between harmonic and low hands. And if I have to play some indie stuff, or music from singers that reminds me to country music or something like that, I totally change. I use a little setup, one tom, one floor, sometimes add mostly the tunes, or I use also some vintage kind of drum heads. That's why I'm not a collector. I need different things, to be quick in replacing one piece in case of need, and choosing, having different options in a very quick time.
Yeah.
And then I need also a couple of kits that could move around. Why? Two of mine are all mic'd and ready to record in my own.
Also, looking at your Instagram, they look great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to congratulate you on that, because all your photos look great, and the whole feed, they all look like you.
Thank you. Thank
Like
you.
if I see the photo, I know, and I don't see who has taken it, I know it's yours. So that's a very authentic.
Thank you. Thank you.
How do you get that?
How I did get that?
Yeah.
I did some research on myself. I did some research. You say why my kids are representative of me?
That and, you know, the photos, how you treat social media overall.
How I treat that. Oh. So social media is another work. It's a parallel work you do. It's something, of course, to work on. In these times, you need to, and I like to do it. I don't do it because I must, but because I really like. It's also a way to stay in contact with many people, you know, and of course, social media have helped me a lot in the last years. I start learning from the Greeks, also in that case, watching what people did before me. But for social media, it's also different because the more you are original, the more you do something different, you have some chances to. But it doesn't mean you necessarily have to push on this just to be fancy. You need to be yourself because people realize when you are not yourself. When you do a photo like this, because you want to seem serious, serious artist, but it should be work on yourself also. And after this, the technical part, audio, video, pictures, needs time and needs of course planning. If one guy wants to start, I have many students. They ask to me, and young guys who inviting me and asking, Daniele, I would like to start on this because to be someone, to find someone who can note me, can yes, you can start with all the motivation you want, but you have to be constant. That's the matter of social media.
Do you have a social media plan?
Yes.
That you follow?
Yeah. Yes.
Feels like that.
Yes, I have. I should do more. I should do better, and I will do, of course, because I'm always trying to do better. But I try to follow a plan and on the basis of what I want to communicate to people. It's not just about a matter of numbers. People are too much worried about numbers.
Yeah, people buy followers.
No, this is
disgusting.
This is something that leads nowhere.
Yeah.
Of course, if you see someone with a certain number of followers, the first sight, you say, "Wow, this guy." Okay, it should work in this way, but then if you go to investigate on what this guy is really doing, or then you realize who he really is. And I think also for social media is very important, the offline too. For 3 years, we could not do that for the reasons we know. But it's very important to stay in touch with people and also with people very far from you. I have many people follow me by United States, Brazil, also Spain, Portugal, many countries. And it's nice. But you always have to care about, your audience. So the more the number, the more you have to care. So you have to to have a structure to do this. And you should know that you are the one who has to answer to these people, because someone is writing to you.
Yeah.
Cannot be an automat, doing that for you. And anybody is important, and you should save a time in your week, in your day. You can schedule it to answer to all the questions. All the questions. It's very important. Then number should grow, but should not grow. But you are making your own community because you are in contact with these people, and this makes the thing real and have a sense, have a meaning.
Exactly.
Number is another thing. Of course, it's good to have big numbers, but it depends on how you do these numbers, and then if you are able to manage this kind of work. Buying, I don't care about this aspect. It's something I'm not.
Yeah, say for example, I don't know, say a company that I like and I want to get endorsed by them. They ask me to have certain numbers, certain followers, and I buy them, and then they go, okay, I'll give you gear, but then I wouldn't want to be with that company because they're valuing the wrong stuff.
No, but serious companies,
obviously,
don't do this.
Yeah,
this is an advice to young drummers who really want to get an endorsement, and so they are worried about making a clip a day, making numbers, buy followers. Serious company, of course, they also look to numbers, but they understand also the conversion of these numbers. Because if these numbers are not real, there is there's nothing behind this. So a serious company is not interested in this. The serious companies are interested, and this is what happened to me. I won't believe the companies, and I don't think the companies that work with me and choose to work with me, like said, I'm very grateful for this. They do this for number. They do this because they really care about me, and that's why Meinl Symbols, for instance, is a company that really care about me. It's very supportive also from the artistical point of view, how I can develop my own sound to play better. Is a different thing. It's not just play that symbols, It's a constant relationship and work together. And this is making me growing a lot also professionally in many kinds of, in my way of thinking. And those people, they are really careful of what's happening around them, and they know very well all the dynamics in the communication world. And it's nice. I feel honored, companies like Meinl, Yamaha, they choose to work with me. But that's the point. They want to. The time you push on that, I want to. Probably it's not the moment.
Like if
everything has certain,
If social media wasn't there, you would still choose to play Yamaha. Meinl and Yamaha would still choose you to play their stuff. If social media wasn't there, that's the point.
I think they choose anyhow.
Yeah.
They choose also without. I wish so, but I think so. I'm pretty sure of it.
So
Also, they have drummers very, very. They don't need me. They have, the most famous and the greatest drummers. They have today icons. They don't need me for numbers because they have numbers by themselves. And then they have some iconic drummers in their roster, so they don't need me.
Yeah.
For that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is a different thing. Is because something happens, chemical, with the product, in the mix between the artist with the product, with the philosophy of the brand.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Many things, many things must happen for a serious relationship between a musician and a company. So, very good advice to young drummers. Of course, keep dreaming and keep working for your goals, but first focus on the quality of what you do, your personality, and doing your thing at the best, and then the moment will come for sure.
Yeah. For sure. I've got a question. It changes the topic, but not really. How do you go from drummer to musician?
So I think I started playing drums, but because drums were the key for me to stay in music, the easiest key for me, for how I am, and so probably since I started, because the most I did as a very young drummer was to play with recordings. Although I didn't read a note at the time, I was not able to read music. 8 years old, 9 years old, not able to play to read music. No theory at all, nothing. Just taking some lesson with a private teacher in the very early years and playing with music. I remember I had the LP. No,
The what?
the vinyl.
Yes, the
Vinyl. Sorry, and had this in my house. This hi-fi, old hi-fi, old style,
Nice.
80s, 90s style with big speakers. Very big speakers, loud volume, and had my parents' collection of vinyls, many of different styles. Phil Collins, Barry White, Gilberto Gil, so Brazilian music.
If you had to save one, which one would it be?
Oh man, no, don't do that. If you have to say one, I cannot save because we're not mine.
Right.
My father, so I could not say.
Okay.
So I can tell you. You should ask him. Okay. Then maybe we make a call. And then many other things, Italian pop music, Glenn Miller orchestra. So I was first listening to the vinyl and then playing, on it, trying to emulate what's happening. So that's the way I started learning rhythms and pronunciations and different subdivision. I played triplets, subdivision, without knowing the difference between quadruplet subdivision, so a squared subdivision and a triplet subdivision. But it was my ears trained, before. And then, as soon as I started understanding the importance of musical theory, I gave a name to all the things. And so I think always thought musically, when playing drums. And I think should be not difference between being a drummer and a musician. Well, of course, drums is a very dangerous instrument, because with drums you can do. It's very hard to do something nice, but it's and good, really fitting correctly in the music and for the band. But it's very easy to do a disaster, total disaster, because it is a very dangerous instrument from this point of view. It can be very loud.
Yeah.
It can destroy everyone's performance if you are not concentrated, if you make some big mistake, and so I would say it's the consciousness that change, and the way then you practice should be more deeply connected with music. If I have to play some fusion stuff, odd meters, in that moment, I mainly focus on that kind of stuff. If I have to play some pop music for a certain while, I concentrate on playing very simple beats for a long time. And another important thing for the drummer, when you start thinking musically, is learning the song, but not only the drum part, but what's happening in all the arrangement.
Yes.
So that's the point I make the next step. When I started working with some really nice arrangers, I understand. Of course, when I studied, big band style, so charts. I had an idea what was an arrangement, but it's a totally different thing when you are the one who has to play the arrangement for the first time, and sometimes some changes happen. In the meanwhile, you are recording. You are that points you realize many things, and you realize also how it's important to sometimes to only serve music with very easy things, but very functional to the music. Sometimes you also are called to play complicated stuff because it's what you have to do. I don't believe the thing, less is more, because many drummers say this, okay, groove, less is more, heart, play by heart, technique is called.
In Spain, we say menos es más.
Menos es más.
I'm very tired of that.
Yes, of course, it's all true, but it depends on what you're playing. I was playing a repertoire yesterday, and it was to be played that way.
Yeah.
I was not expected to play that song in a certain way,
Yeah.
But I love to play very simple, but simple is not simple, of course, because everything is not simple. It's just but understanding what music asks. That's the point.
Yeah, using these.
Huh? Yes, big ears.
Big ears.
Big ears.
We're approaching the end of our interview. For our talk, that's why I prefer to say talk than interview. I want to ask you for a challenge for everyone watching. So if you had to tell them for a challenge for them, what will you tell them to do?
One challenge is to everyone, young people, and also my challenge. So, knowing and listening other musicians, not only drummers, of course, to be inspired to understand music, phrasing. Sometimes it's also interesting to listen other instruments patterns. So a guitar pattern, of course, the bass, which is the most near to us, but also the saxophone or piano, of course, and learn piano, of course. It's very helpful to develop more wider vision of the kit too. The way we play melodies or textures in the kit. and this is important. And coping is very important, because emulating was very important for me in the studying process. Then you have to find your key, and to find your key, you have to know your roots, why you play, why you love playing, and you have to remind when you started playing, for which reason you started playing. And from that, you can start developing your own language. I always suggest to also study folkloric rhythms. We are Mediterranean.
Yeah.
I love, for instance, I love flamenco. We talked about this.
Nice.
I also like a lot Balkanian rhythms, Turkish rhythms. All that's happening in the Mediterranean is very interesting for us drummers.
Yeah.
Of course, we have African roots and all the black music thing that is really important to know, and the mix between all this can make, a special, very special thing. And that's the way I think a drummer could develop language, and rhythmic language could evolve, I think. This is the very first challenge. Second challenge is practicing a lot. Sometimes guys ask me,
that's a hard challenge. I'm not doing that.
Sometimes young guys, I feel old when I say this, young guys, this way, young guys. I'm still young, yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
But sometimes very young guys ask me, okay, you say to me, I have to study 8 hours, 10 hours a day, but who gives me 100%, who makes me 100% sure that this will lead to my goals? This will make me famous. Mm-hmm. This will make me, this will give me the chance to make a lot of money. No, this is not the...
Not ready.
This is not the way. This is not the way. You should not play music to be famous. You should not play music to play, to make money. Maybe these two things can be a consequence.
Yeah.
But these are not the reasons. If you start for these reasons, I don't like this kind of mind setting. For me, it's my personal idea. Mm-hmm. You should practice many hours because you like to learn and you like to stay many hours on drums. That's all.
Yeah.
And this should make you happy. And when you go, you wake up early and you go on drums, then you have lunch, take a little rest, and then you again drum till the evening, and then maybe also read some books, not about drumming, because otherwise only drums also is not good. You also need to be, have different interests, because also helping the artistical groove, otherwise you become an automat, a robot. And all our growth should be organic, you should go not only technically, also your ears, your consciousness, art, other kinds of art, visual art. And this is probably the third one. So don't think about yourself just like drummers, but also like more complete human being and artists, because we live in a new consciousness time. You know, now many things are revealed, and we should we should grow everyone with our way of thinking. And people who is doing this is doing great things.
Yeah.
And this is also important. So go to a theater, go to a museum, watch a film, read a book, take a walk. This city, Zamora, is a nice city. If you take a walk, it's great inspiration. Although you are there's nothing about drumming, but you see monument, charts, and this is a lot of inspiration when you go back to your practice room or when you are doing something. You know, in the musical field, it's an inspiration because feelings and colors and all these kind of things. It's not only philosophical things, you know, hippie things. No, it's true. These are advices. I don't know which other advice I can give.
I think that's enough.
It's
you
enough?
gave us 3. So
3?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll take that.
No. Eh?
I'm happy with that.
Okay, me too.
Well, very lucky.
Which advice you will save between these 3?
I like the taking inspiration from other stuff.
Yes.
I think that's very important. Like, a lot of people are too inside their head, too inside themselves, whereas a lot of information and inspiration can be outside. A lot of people just walk like this, but if you turn your head up, you know, the world is very inspiring just by itself. So
absolutely.
Thank you. That's what I said.
Thank you.
And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it and got a lot from it. So thank you, Daniele.
Thank you. My pleasure.